Hi, welcome back to another episode of Susie Reads. We are continuing our adventure of witches, ghosts, and goblins, and today we get to read chapter 5, The Prisoners in the Palace, and we will find out what the tasks will be. What do you think? Should we get started? Chapter 5, Prisoners in the Palace. The grounds around the palace in the land of the goblins are considered to be escape-proof, as is the palace itself. A high stone wall encircles the acres of beautiful gardens that surround the palace. Sentries are on duty day and night. They are the best trained of all the goblin soldiers, and it is a great honor to be chosen as a member of the King's Patrol. In a long history of the land, no sentry has ever been known to take a bribe or allow anyone to enter or leave the palace grounds against the king's orders. Of course, if Miranda had her broomstick, it might be possible for the 4 prisoners to fly free, but at present there seems to be no chance of escape. Prisoners in the palace. I wonder, said the imp, if we'll be thrown into the dungeon. Miranda and her group stood outside the throne room, waiting for the head guard to show them to their quarters. The king of the goblins told us to consider ourselves his guest, Oliver reminded him. We are also his prisoners, the imp declared. Bread and water, water and bread, that is all that will be fed. He rolled his eyes and clutched his stomach and staggered feebly from one to the other. Stop trying to get back onto our good graces, Miranda remarked. It was wicked of you to get us arrested for stealing jewels. What tasks do you think the king will give us? Polly asked, purposefully changing the subject. She really didn't think the imp should be reminded of his mean trick. Before anyone could answer, the head guard returned. Follow me, he ordered. Off to the dungeon, the imp added. Hush, said Polly. The head guard led them through a maze of hallways, connecting corridors, up a flight of stairs, across a balcony, down more stairs, and along another hallway. At last he stopped and opened a door with a great silver key. Here is your apartment, he said. The imp examined his feet as though they might be blistered and pretended to limp painfully across the threshold. Are we still in the land of the goblins? He asked sarcastically. The guard ignored him. There are bedrooms for each of you leading off the main room. These double doors at the end of the room lead to a private park and the king's gardens. You may wish to take a stroll. However, I must remind you that you are under guard. Any attempt to escape will be severely dealt with. He bowed and left. The 4 of them examined their apartment. It was richly and comfortably furnished. A fire crackled in the fireplace, although it was pleasantly warm outside. Goblins are always chilly, Miranda remarked. They love fire. Everything is too big, the imp said crossly, climbing up into a chair. Just once, I'd like to find furniture that fits me. He jumped down and went off to look at his bedroom. Miranda, Polly, and Oliver were eating some of the fruit that had been provided for them when the imp returned. First he went to the hall door, and, as he had expected, 2 guards were standing outside. Then he went to the door leading to the gardens, but the guards were there too. Sauntering back to join the others, he said casually, "Let me show you my room." "We're tired. It's been a very trying day," Miranda told him. "Later. We'll have a look later." Polly yawned. Oliver looked as though he might fall asleep. Being a prisoner wore a person out. The imp cleared his throat. Please, he wheedled. At the same time, he backed to the doorway of his room, which was out of sight of the guards. Polly and Oliver and Miranda were surprised to see him beckoning them to come at once. One by one, they rose slowly, so as not to disturb the guards, and joined the imp. He motioned them to be quiet and led them to a paneled wall behind his bed. Above the bed was a picture of some goblin famous in history. The imp pushed the picture to one side and turned a small knob that the picture had hidden. "Watch," he said in a low voice. There was a creaking sound and what seconds before had been part of the wall now became a door which opened and revealed stairs leading downward. "A way to escape," the imp whispered. "I don't like to brag, but I am very good at finding secret passages and the like. I really have a talent for searching out hidden doors and concealed hideaways. You may thank the imp for your deliverance. Shall we leave now or wait for dinner?" Miranda closed the door to the room so that she wouldn't be heard. "To begin with, dear imp, we don't know where those stairs lead. Moreover, I don't want to escape. With my magic, the king's tasks should not be too difficult. And when they're done, we'll have help to find Cactus. Now close the door and forget the hidden stairs. I won't have you spoiling our chances. We've been warned against trying to escape." "But suppose the king goes back on his word," the imp argued. "I should at least explore the passageway. It might come in handy to know where it goes." Miranda opened the bedroom door. "If you insist on going down those stairs, I shall call the guards." Hastily, the imp closed the secret door and straightened the picture above his bed. "I was only trying to help," he said as he followed them out of the room. For a while, they sat gazing at the fire. No one spoke a word. Suddenly, Miranda jumped up. "This is no way to act," she told them, brooding around, feeling sorry for ourselves, dreading tomorrow. "Let's go for a walk in the gardens. We'll pick a bouquet to brighten up the place." She swung open the doors to the garden and said a cheery hello to the guards. "Come on," she said to Polly, Oliver, and the imp. "I'll race you to the nearest statue." Polly won, the imp didn't even try, and Oliver tripped over a rake that a careless gardener had left in the path. Even so, Miranda came in last, out of breath but smiling. "I never win," she huffed and puffed, "but I'm a good loser." She was still catching her breath when a voice said, "I am Eldrith III." "Goodness," said Polly. "Who's that? Who's that talking?" The voice was quite gruff and goblinesque. "I was king of the goblins during the years of great ice storms," the voice continued. "I brought fire from the depths of Monster Mountain to keep my fellow goblins from freezing. I was a good king." The voice came from the statue, but they all noticed that his lips didn't move. "Talking statues, how nice!" Miranda looked in surprise. "I didn't know the goblins were so magical." "They only talk when you stand directly in front of them," Oliver observed, going from king statue to king statue. "It's nothing but a recording. No magic at all," the imp complained. Polly, who had lost interest, wandered away to pick some flowers. "Oh," she said in disappointment, "the flowers were not real at all, but fashioned of precious jewels and exquisitely blown glass." The guards were watching carefully to be sure that the flowers stayed where they were. "Bother," said Miranda. "Real flowers are much nicer. Remind me to send the king some flower seed." "What a garden," the imp said in disgust. "It's no fun at all." Nothing to swing on, no slides. I'm going back to my room and take a nap. Stay away from the you-know-what, Miranda called after him. Polly and Oliver strolled with Miranda a while longer, but the imp was right. There was little pleasure in it. Guards met them at every turn. Although the goblins saluted smartly, it was not easy to enjoy a walk when every step of it was being watched. They headed back to the apartment. The door to Imp's bedroom was closed. They stared for a time. Then Miranda tiptoed over gently and opened it. There was no one in the bed, and the picture above it was slightly crooked. Quickly, they searched the entire apartment. There was no sign of the imp. He's run away, said Polly. He's exploring the passageway, said Oliver. He disobeyed me, Miranda said, and we may all pay for it. No sooner had she uttered the words than a loud knock sounded at the door, and a guard called out, "Your dinner is here." Miranda quickly closed the imp's bedroom door. "Come in," she told the guard. The door opened, and a guard rolled in a table. It was, of course, set for four. 4 sizzling steaks, 4 baked potatoes, 4 of everything waited them. "Thank you," Miranda said to the guard. His eyes searched the room. "Where's the little fellow?" Miranda pointed to the closed door. "Napping," she exclaimed. "I'm sure he will awaken when the smells of this wonderful food." The guard started towards the imp's bedroom door. Miranda stood in his way. "It's bad luck to wake up a brownie. Don't worry, his empty stomach will arouse him." For a minute the guard hesitated, but then he left. It was an excellent meal, and even though they were worried about the absent imp, the 3 of them enjoyed it. "We must eat Imp's portion," Miranda told Polly and Oliver, "so the guard will suspect nothing." She smiled at Polly. "You, my dear, may have the extra salad." To Oliver, she handed the Imp's serving of peas and carrots and his mug of milk. "I will do my best to take care of his steak and his dessert." When they had finished, Polly suggested that Oliver roll the table out into the hall to the guards to keep them from snooping around in the apartment. "Excellent idea," Miranda responded, "and while Oliver has the door open, I'll be pretending to talk to the imp." It worked as they planned. Oliver thanked the guard for the delicious meal. Meanwhile, Miranda loudly carried on an imaginary conversation with the imp. "Wasn't that steak tender, Imp? I've never seen you eaten so much. No wonder you're sleepy. Go on back to bed, dear Imp." Oliver closed the door. "Wherever can that rascal be?" Miranda moaned. "If he was just exploring the passageway, he should be back by now." "Perhaps I'll go look for him," Oliver suggested. "No, no, no!" In exasperation, Miranda flung open the imp's bedroom door. There, sleeping peacefully, a sweet smile on his pixie face, was the imp. At the foot of his bed, pinned on the coverlet, was a note. It read, "Dear friends, I had a very interesting trip, which I will tell you about in the morning if you are nice to me. Good night, sweet dreams. Remember, it is bad luck to wake up a brownie. Yours truly, the Imp." And that is the end of chapter 4. So we didn't find out what their tasks are, but next time we will find out about Imp's journey through the passageway and what he finds. What do you think? Is it a way to escape? Is it a way to some unexplored land? Will he meet ghosts? Will the goblins catch him? We'll see. See you next time on Susie Reads. Bye.